Before I set up my multi-colony, I made sure to read some online articles and watch some videos to get enough information to be able to provide them with a good home. It obviously worked. They continue to breed and breed quite well. But while I was doing the research, there were several questions that I was unable to answer through my research. And those questions I've now been able to find the answers to through keeping multis. So I decided to share my questions and answers here in the hopes that they'll benefit someone who wants to find out a little bit more about these fish. My first question concerned the grain size of the substrate that I had provided. I knew that they preferred fine sand, and I just wasn't sure whether this Carib Sea Zac Black cichlid substrate was fine-grained enough for them. Well, the short answer is yes, it is. They are able to move it around and bury shells and in general exhibit the behaviors that they would exhibit in the wild with regards to the substrate. Another question I had regarded their diet and breeding frequency. Some articles that I had read indicated that live food, specifically baby brine shrimp, really increased their breeding and that they would only breed occasionally if they didn't have regular access to live food. So I was wondering whether or not I was going to have to provide them with live baby brine shrimp at regular intervals. It turns out that I haven't offered brine shrimp at all, and they're obviously producing plenty of fry. I'm just offering some omega-1 pellets, daphnia, and daily feedings of microworms, and that seems to be more than sufficient. Another question I had regarding breeding and production of fry was whether or not I could keep olive nerites in the tank. A lot of snails will attack fish eggs, and so I was wondering whether or not olive nerites would be okay and if they would have a negative impact on the breeding of the multis. And it appears, since I've kept olive nerites in this tank, a couple of them, since before I had fry, that they are not having a negative effect, or if they are, it's small enough that I'm still satisfied with the production that I'm getting. And the last question that I'm going to address in this video is what I'm going to do with this unique female, which seems to have a kind of a dwarf balloon trait going on. Well, originally I had removed her from the main multi-colony because I didn't want this trait spreading through it. However, I have noticed that a few of the fry in the main tank do exhibit this trait. So the situation is more complex than I thought, and there are adults that are carrying the trait, heterozygous for it, and so it's not going to be that simple to keep the trait out of this colony. So I've restored that female to the main tank because she has produced some normal fry, and though they will definitely carry the trait, it's going to be a process that I'll have to do over several generations, removing any fish that exhibit the trait from this tank so that they don't breed in there. But for now, because I only have a total of 2 females that are producing fry at all, I thought it was in the best interest of genetic diversity for the colony to have them both in there. And then just as I mentioned, over time, through selection, I can hopefully remove this trait from the population. Well, thanks for watching. May the fish be with you. And now a word from our cephalopod.
Hi, human. Do me a favor. Click that subscribe button down there. I would, but I'm, a cuttlefish.